So in this short video, we're going to be looking at communication, but we're going to be looking at how we process communication or information that we receive. Now, according to some scientists, as humans, we are faced with around 7 million pieces of information or communication in any one given second. Now, that's far too much for our brains or the conscious part of our mind to process. So we filter that information. That information or that communication goes through a whole set of filters before we actually process it. So the first of those filters is our sensory filters. Now, we'll look at this in more detail in one of the other videos, but we have our visual senses, so our sight, our auditory senses, our hearing, our kinesthetic senses, so that's our feelings, and then we have our gustatory, which is our taste, and then we have our olfactory, which is our smells. So that's the first set of filters that we have. The next thing that we do with that information or that communication is we delete, we distort, and we generalize it. So we generalize it. If you look at the image that's on your screen now and I say to you, what are those red things? Hopefully you'll say they're chairs. And despite the fact that you've never seen those things before, you've identified them as chairs because they look a little bit like some other chairs that you've seen before in your life. You generalize those as chairs. I generalise that my name is Jamie. I don't have to relearn that information every day. The next thing we do is we distort information. A bit like that game that you used to play at primary school where you'd whisper something in someone's ear here, it'd go all around the class and something completely different would come out the other end. We distort information. And then the last thing that we do is we completely delete information. If I ask you to look at this picture that's on your screen now, and say to you, notice as many red things as you can. Notice as many red things, and don't forget the cello. I recently called that a violin, but was corrected, it's a cello. So just notice as many red things as you possibly can. And now think of all the blue things that were in that room. That's probably quite tricky because you've deleted them. You've assumed you don't actually need those things there. So we delete, we distort, and we generalize information. Then we have some more filters that this communication information goes through. The next one is our values and our beliefs filters. What are the things that we believe? The beliefs that we've maybe been given as children or we've been given by other people in our lives that we now hold to be our own, those beliefs and our values. The next filter after that is our strategies filter. We all have a strategy for everything that we do in life, whether that's buying or selling or cleaning your teeth or putting on your pants in the morning. You have a strategy that's individual to you on how you do those things. So this morning when you put on your pants, which hopefully you did you put your right leg in first or your left leg? Or did you hold them out and jump straight in? It will be completely different for everyone. We all have a different strategy for everything that we do. Then the next filter is our memories filter. So our past experiences influence how we absorb that communication and how we filter it. And then lastly, we have our language filter. Language means different things to different people. I often tell a story about a friend of mine who's a life coach, and he had a guy come in to see him, really big burly guy with one of those, he had a face tattoo a bit like Mike Tyson. And the guy sat down, my friend, the life coach, said to him, "So what's the challenge?" And he said, "I don't know whether to stop beating my son." Now, when I first heard that, I had a real issue with that. But it turns out that this big burly guy with the face tattoo was his son's tennis coach. And he didn't know whether by beating him every week at tennis, it was destroying the kid's confidence. But our language influences how we filter information. So it's only once it's gone through all of those things, that communication or that information, that we then produce an internal representation or representation of the information or communication that has come our way. So why is this so important? Because if you can become aware of what you're filtering out, what you're deleting, what you're distorting, what you're generalizing in life, you'll begin to spot more opportunities. So how can you apply this to your world?